Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. Last night, my son came in and interrupted my train of thought about the stuff that was going on in Nashville. And I have a lot to think about because, this stuff brings up lots of memories for me. Today, there was some video footage of the shooter. She took a sub 2000 9mm and a Smith & Wesson Easy 9 and some unknown AR-15 pistol to perpetrate this horrendous act. The first thing she did to get into the school, because the school locked down like they were supposed to, was she shot through glass doors, exterior doors, and then walked through them. Now it looks like from the video that they've shown that the staff and the teachers and the kids did what they were supposed to. They hid. But this person went methodically to interior doors that would be open because you can't lock down for life, safety, health. Because every door she hit had a breaker bar, which would be for fire exits. And she walked through until she was finally able to get to where kids were. It's also coming out that, like our shooting in Aztec, this person knew the facility. She was a former student. So it goes back to saying, what are we doing to kids in school that they later come back to school, not as visitors, but as people perpetrating an assault? Now, 6 people died, 3 kids, 3 administrators, one of the people that died, that was a staff member, was a janitor. My heart goes out to them. My prayers go out to them. There's a lot that's going to happen today, day 1 after. There's going to be an assessment, a risk assessment, put out again to see if they could have found a way to track this person down before it had happened. Because all these things, there's always a precognition piece where we're trying to see if we can find these shooters before they actually do something stupid. And it makes a lot of sense to a degree, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because law enforcement doesn't do anything about it. Now, 2 of the people, the first 2 law enforcement agents that showed up from Nashville PD, took care of the threat. They didn't wait. Even though it does turn out that it is a 14-minute response time. So I can't imagine in 14 minutes, if this shooter was more competent, what could have happened. So the number of casualties they have, well, it is, to me, unbearably high, because even 1 kid is more than we should lose at any of these types of things. It points out that what would have happened if, say, the principal of that school and their assistant principal or their dean of students or even the janitor were armed. This person walked around for 14 minutes before they actually found somebody to engage. In 14 minutes, what could have happened if the administrators were able to repel borders and fight the fight that they had to fight? There are a lot of administrators and teachers that are slowly waking up to the idea that they are the last final defense for kids. And that's sobering, but at the same time, my only reservation is that some of these teachers really are the ones you see on the news that shouldn't actually be anywhere near anything like this because they're mentally unstable. And they're great teachers, or they appear to be, but they're probably pushing this propaganda crap out at the same time. Now, I have 2 gut reactions. One I didn't share on the podcast that'll be shared later today. And one of them is to get your kids out of school. It is heartbreaking to think that our schools are now a collection of targets for not only the woke mob, but for any of the woke mob's idiots that have lost their mind, figured out that they can get a gun, or found a way to get a gun, and go in and get their pound of flesh. There is no way around this but saying this is an act of terror. You cannot write a manifesto saying what you're going to do. And I can imagine now what that manifesto says. And I'm sure it'll be released because the media likes its pound of flesh. And if it bleeds, it leads. And for days, we will see this, and there will be continued calls to repress people and take away their rights because of some idiot that was probably on the radar and no one was able to do anything about it. Now, I know nationwide, since we got rid of mental institutions, that we should probably bring mental institutions back, because it would allow law enforcement to 5150 people who absolutely are nuts without having to use a red flag law. They don't need a red flag law. They never have any restrictions. And the more I think about it, about restricting guns, because it's always horrific for me to see this stuff. And I have been a statist for so long that there are moments where I think maybe we should take away guns from the idiots that are, about to do stuff like this. The fact of the matter is that this person was trans, which I mentioned before, so they have other diagnosable mental health issues. That being such a hot button issue right now, I'm sure that since Tennessee has taken steps to protect kids from those horrible procedures, that pushed this person over the edge, and they felt compelled to get their voice heard. And the only way they think they can is by becoming famous in the most horrific way possible. The world is not getting any kinder. People you trust or trusted probably are not always your friends. People have lost their damn mind. And COVID broke a lot of their mind. And they became obsessed with social media, so much so that they don't see anything else but that. They consistently get validated through social media. So therefore, when they are really off the reservation, mentally ill, they're getting validation from things like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook, from those rare weirdos that are actually more prevalent on the internet than they are in real life. This means that they have a cheerleader squad, and that they're waiting to get back to their cheerleader squad to tell them what they just did. It's horrific to think that there are people who are calling for violence, especially on a day of rage, because that's something that the trans community has been focusing on very heavily recently, where they are willing to perpetrate acts of pure evil. So it goes back to self-ownership. What are you going to do to stop it? If you had seen one of these people, would you have shot him? I asked myself that because this last Thursday, I talked about this too. There was a shooting at a local mall, and it killed an 18-year-old girl. Now, for a while there, I had been wondering if I had walked past this person that was shot when I went to the mall to get my John Wick tickets. Now I know it wasn't the case. I didn't see this person, the person I thought and was worried about, was not the victim and was not the one that was hit. I do wonder about the car that followed me in such a high rate of speed that was very much interested in getting to the mall for whatever reason. Maybe they were late for work. Maybe they're the ones that did this stuff. But it calls back to thinking, if you see something, who do you tell? And will law enforcement do anything about it? We're at that point in time where they're going to keep telling you your assault weapon is evil. Your AR-15, the fact that you have this piece of equipment, this tool, makes you an evil person. But you've never done anything in your entire life that would ever reflect that you're an evil person. So, they're going to push really hard. And with more incidences like this, where they use a modern sporting rifle, this person's primary weapon was a Kel-Tec Sub 2K. I'm guessing it was because of recoil more so than anything, and the price of ammunition. And it's sad that I think about things like that logistically when you look at something this evil. This person was ready. They walked in with tactical vests, with the right slings to make sure that they could carry all their weapons, and plenty of ammunition and magazines. Now, what part of that is out of the norm for the normal tactical community? The main one is we would never, ever consider hurting kids. But we're the ones that will bear the blame for what's happened in Tennessee, even though we've never done anything like that. There are two cults in the United States. There's a left and a right cult. One of them wants to have debates and discuss things, and that's the cult on the right. The cult on the left hasn't cared and doesn't care. All they care about is that they are right. And it doesn't matter if we stand toe-to-toe to them and tell them how wrong they are about their way of thought. They'll get reinforcement from the media and their weirdo friends to continue things like this. Because this is action, and this is what the left thrives on. Someone keeps saying, and it's been passed around on social media, to define what is woke. Well, let me define it for you. Because Tim Pool actually said it best, in my opinion. Woke is an ideology that's founded solely on a cult mentality. There is no proving these people right or wrong. To them, they always consider themselves right. Now, their economic policies, they don't all agree, where those on the right side do. Then there are people like me and you. We are the people that think about things. We're the people that actually look at facts and logic and see that we have a problem. And that problem keeps being swept under the rug with legislation, and no one is addressing it head to head. We have created a populace of weak-minded people who are willing to hurt others regardless of anything else, just to prove they're right. Now, a lot of people will say this is like indicative of the January 6th crowd. It's not. Those guys, they're probably in a cult, but they're the guys that just want to have a debate and bring you to their side. But we're at a point in time to realize that there is no bringing them to our side. These people are locked into a fantasy world that you can't get them out of. And we need to do something about it. Like, share, subscribe, be great.